What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another fantastic episode, Voice of the Fans podcast. This is week 152 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Is August 18th, 2021. What's the weather like this week up there in the Northwest, Cleveland? Give us an update. How you
You
guys
know,
doing this week?
Cam, it's a little cooler. It's not the inferno it was last week. So, a pleasant 77. Nice westerly breeze, about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Beautiful. Perfect
Uh,
weather.
so did we have Seafair this past weekend, or
We did
what were the boat
not. We
races?
shut Seafair down. Unfortunately,
Canceled
yeah.
Seafair again? Seafair was canceled?
No angels, no torchlight,
Are you
no
kidding me?
hydros.
For the second year in a row?
It happened, Cam. It was a rough one.
Wow, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. The best weekend, I guess they extended it for 2 weeks now, or they did pre-COVID to 2 weeks. That's the best. That was the best weekend in Seattle growing up, well, for me anyway. Get to go down to the boat races. You Blue Angels get on your nerves early in the week, but it was a cool experience, and they shut that down. Huh? No Seafair weekend. Wow,
No Seafair weekend.
they're gonna have to make up for that. They're gonna have to make up for that somehow. I don't know, but it's been pretty humid down here in Southern California. So tomorrow we got the Chargers and the San Francisco 49ers facing off
Mm.
in a couple practices back to back before their second preseason game on Sunday. So Coach Brandon Staley of the Chargers, I don't know if you heard his comments last week, poo-pooing preseason games, saying his practices is going to be more critical than the preseason game. So they finally get a chance to practice against somebody else, and I'm excited to see kind of how things transpire. Not only am I excited to see what the Chargers offensive line does, I'm excited to see what the 49ers, that quarterback situation, how the young quarterback plays versus how the young quarterback plays versus
Jimmy
Jimmy
Garoppolo.
Jimmy G. So it's going to be interesting to see against this Chargers defense is clearly their defense is clearly ahead of their offense. So it's going to be good to see, man. Um, it's going to be great to see. But as we, I'm getting ahead of myself. As we start each and every show, Cleveland, it's August 18th again. 152 weeks of the show. We've been doing this iteration of the show, and with the numbers, man. Who wore the number 18 best, or who comes to your mind first?
Cam, the person that comes to mind first is Randy Moss during his short stint in Oakland and also in Tennessee, but he repped that 18 quite well. The person that wore it best is probably uh, recent Hall of Famer Peyton Manning.
Randy Moss come to your mind before Charlie Joyner?
Oh man, I thought about that because I know that you're with the Chargers, kind of doing it, kind of real tough over there. But yeah, no, Randy comes to mind before Charlie Jones, before Eric Coryell and all that.
We might have to question your football knowledge.
No, not really.
I mean,
Not really.
I don't know what you were watching to give you. You don't recognize what
I mean, they
Charlie
both have
Joyner
gold jackets, right, Cam?
was able to do. They
They
do
both
both.
have gold jackets. I'm just
They
saying.
do, and the guy Peyton Manning, obviously, who was first and foremost of wearing number 18 of all, he has the gold jacket. So, when you think of the number 52, I think of the Pittsburgh Steelers center, Mr. Mike Webster. When you think of the number 52, when you think of number 52, who wore that number best, or who comes to your mind first?
Ray Lewis.
Not Jamal Wilkes from you from your. I know you're a
No,
bandwagon Laker fan.
Ray Lewis.
Not Kevin Muwai, center for the Jets and your Seattle Seahawks.
Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis, huh? Okay. Ray Ray Lewis was a little overrated. That's my hot take.
Overrated. Wow.
A little overrated.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
Two Super Bowls.
Huh?
Two Super Bowls.
Yeah, yeah. Two Super Bowls. Yes, yes, sir. He was integral in one of them, but not necessarily the second one. But overrated. I mean,
Oh, I know. Cam, I know you're old school. You probably think Michael Singletary is better.
Michael Singh. They were very comparable. I would say Derrick Brooks was better without question. Without question, I would go Derrick Brooks when I'm thinking about linebackers. But he did come out of the U, and he was pretty sick. He was solid. He's just a little overrated.
Redefined how the position is supposed to be played.
Redefine. He did not redefine anything. No, he did not redefine anything. He did.
Ray Lewis.
How did he
the
redefine
monster?
The
number 52.
You play the middle and you come downhill. That's not redefining anything. That's what linebackers did before him, and that's what linebackers did after him. Not redefining.
Didn't do it as well as Ray Lewis. I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness gracious! This is not a Ray Lewis show, but I can just you heard my feedback. If you want to at me, what's good in sport? You can at me. What's good? The letter in sport.
Get at him, fans. Ray Lewis was better than anybody he's talking about.
Ray Lewis was not better than Derrick Brooks. So
yes,
that's where I'm gonna start there.
Yes, he was.
Oh my goodness, keep on. Okay, it's just we're not 5 minutes into the show, and you ready to make me go off on a tangent already?
It's on you, man. Ray Lewis was better.
Better than I'm sorry, who?
Ray Lewis was better than Derrick Brooks. I'm saying it on camera. I'll say it again. Ray Lewis was better than Derrick Brooks.
Who did Derrick Brooks play for? Do you know who Derrick Brooks played for?
Yeah, Florida State Seminoles.
Okay, and in the pros, Derrick Brooks was
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over there with Warren Sapp and those guys, John Lynch, et cetera, Simeon Rice. Yeah, I know who Derrick Brooks is.
I'm not sure who you're familiar with. If you're familiar with Derrick Brooks and what he brought to the game. Anyway, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to somebody I'm sure you want to talk about. I'm sure you Hawks fans are excited. Hawks fans, because they brought their safety, their middle linebacker, their outside linebacker, their cornerback, all wrapped up in one. They signed Jamal Adams, get him onto the pin. I mean, although Dwayne Brown still goes unsigned, his contract is still up in the air. But they did sign Jamal Adams. Talk to me about what that does for the defense up there in Seattle.
Status quo. We were always expecting him to eventually be a Seahawk for a long time, and here we are. I believe we talked about this on the show on numerous occasions. You had a little bit of trepidation with regards to whether the Seahawks would actually sign him, but once again, they've just made one of their safeties the highest paid safety in the game. They've done that on numerous occasions, and this is no different.
Highest paid safety in the game. What? I didn't break down the figures. Is he the highest paid Seahawk right now? No. The highest paid defense. I didn't even let me look at the number.
Neither of those. He's neither of those. He is the highest paid safety in the NFL, though.
And what's the expectation? I mean, I saw a stat line today where JPP has more interceptions than that guy. Will he have? I mean, are you expecting him to get interceptions? Or are you expecting him?
Maybe two.
Maybe two.
I'd be happy with two.
That's it.
That's it.
I mean, I think that's a career high right now.
I'm sure it is.
That'd be a career high for a season.
Doesn't have the best hands, and a little stiff in the hips. So coverage sometimes is a little bit of a challenge. But
so in 17 games, you want your safety to come up with 2 picks.
Right.
What is he bring? Is he leading the team in tackles? I think that's number 54.
He's not leading the team in tackles. Bobby Wagner will most likely lead the team in tackles.
What is this? So what are you paying all this money for?
Oh, he's a beast back there. I mean, the way he patrols the secondary, very similar to a Cam Chancellor, very similar to a Bob Sanders. He has a knack for where the ball is at. Very similar to like a Minkah Fitzpatrick type.
No. Minkah Fitzpatrick gets interceptions, buddy. I like how you threw that out there. Minkah Fitzpatrick gets interceptions. And when he went from one team to another team, he got 5 interceptions.
Quite nice to go there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he actually is. He actually is. I think I predicted. I think I called that.
I think he's kind of changed the culture over there a little bit.
I think I called that number one.
I think he's kind of changed the culture over there a
smart
little
ass?
bit,
Why you
which
why
is
you trying
kind
to
of
be a
what he
smart ass?
wasn't trying, a part of over there in Miami, the 305 at the time, which is why they had to ship him out of town.
I don't know. Look, I'm gonna ask you about Tua. I'm gonna ask you about Tua a little later and kind of what you thought his first preseason game looked like. But we're not going down that rabbit hole, okay? We're not going down that rabbit hole tonight, okay?
No.
You guys got Adam signed,
Right?
and you're good with 2 interceptions. He won't lead the team in tackles. I don't know I don't know what you're paying him all the money for.
Well, he will be an All-Pro safety, so don't worry about that.
You sure? Is he gonna? There's 17 games on the schedule. Is he gonna make? Is he gonna? Well, Jamal Adams played 12 games this season.
The over-under is 14.
The under over 14.
Yeah.
And I'm saying he's played 12. What do you say?
Probably if as a gambling man that I am, I'm young Sam Ross, and I would probably take the under on that.
Okay. Well, we're in agreement. We're in agreement. So we're in agreement that you guys overpaid for him. That's what it sounds like to me. We're in an agreement that you.
No, we made him the highest paid safety in the game. He's an integral part of what the Seahawks do on defense.
And you're going to get 12 games out of him. You're happy with 12 games?
No, I said 14. I said the over-under was 14.
And you said you're taking 12, the under. I said 14. And you're taking the under. So we're at 13 games.
13 games.
Okay. Again. So you guys are happily overpaying this guy. That's what you're doing now. So why don't you pay Dwayne Brown, somebody who will likely play all 17 games this season? Why are you guys hesitating on paying this kid?
Because we had to get this resolved first to free up cap space to sign Dwayne Brown, and he's next.
Who's more important, your overpaid safety or your left tackle protecting Russell Wilson? Who's more critical?
Oh, I mean, that's hard to say, Cam. I mean, they're both integral parts of the team, so
it's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Interesting. Well, we'll see if they pay Dwayne Brown, if they choose to pay him, because we know how the Seahawks all of a sudden get stingy with their money and don't want to pay players. We know how we've seen.
Right, as you say that after you just say they made Jamal Adams the highest paid safety in the NFL history of football.
Yeah, it took them. He had to hold out for that.
It took them to the right time to do it. As we've been saying on this show for weeks now, Cam, this is the way the Seahawks do business. So, it was never a question as to whether it was going to get done. The question was what the timeline was going to be. And that was entirely up to Mr. Adams. I mean, they made their best, pitch for it, and up to him to accept it or not accept it. And he accepted it. So let's move on.
So he played 12 games last year, 14 games the year before. Only 2 of his 4 seasons in the NFL has he played a complete season. And so 14.
And plus, we're still in talks with Xavier Howard to see if he wants to come aboard. So,
see, you know what, man. Okay, we're getting off the topic right now. we know. We're getting off the topic right now. Look. Talk to me about. So I don't know why you keep trying to go down south and poaching. What's going on? Xavier Howard already re-signed, by the way. Just in case you didn't know, he re-signed with the Dolphins. He's happy. He's in a good place.
You feel relieved, Cam?
He's in a good place. I wasn't never nervous about it, but he's in a good place. So, what do you think about? What do you think about the NFL cracking down on this taunting? We talked a little bit about last week. But we saw some plays where it actually impacted the game over the weekend.
I think it dilutes the game. I think it dilutes the product, and I think that's what the fans really want, which is why they kind of brought everything kind of back full circle a few years ago. But sometimes every once in a while, the NFL has periods or small pockets where they want to be politically correct. It doesn't really cover the entire blanket of the NFL, but at the same time, this is one of those times they want to make an emphasis on it right now. Okay, until it impacts a game or it impacts some superstar that is really uh, influential with their celebration, and they'll change back.
They'll change it. So we saw it. It happened in practice. I was what's today? Tuesday or today's Wednesday. It happened yesterday in practice. I was 8 feet from the general manager of the Chargers, and on the field, the DB. It was a bang bang play, but the receiver goes up to catch the ball. The DB slaps it out of his hand just as he's going to go catch it. Slaps it out of his hand. It was a good play. He comes up screaming at the DB, pounding his chest, and then I was like, "That's a penalty in today's game. In today's NFL, that's a penalty." And general manager's like, "Yes, it absolutely is." And then I asked him, "Do they consult with you guys before they make this rule?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely, they do. A part of the competition committee, they consult with all the GMs." And so it was very interesting. And I asked him what his thoughts were, and then he went to, "Well, if you watch a high school game, this is what you see on every other play. They're flexing, they're spinning the ball, they're 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 taking this taunting a little bit too far, and we see it every play in high school. So we want to do our part to kind of erase that from the football game." And then I kind of didn't see it for that aspect, if you will. Um, However, if they go, away from the player that they're perceived to be taunting, if they do it in the air, make that pound his chest towards the end zone or towards the fan, that's a much different connotation than when he does it towards the player. And then that's what we see. I still think it's kind of a tough ruling, and I think what happened is as they make these rulings as they have in the past and make these various rule changes, is they'll call it for the first few weeks of the season, just kind of set the tone, set the pace of it, and then they'll kind of dial that back in. Is what I would anticipate. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. They want to let it be known, early and often that they are enforcing this and that it is a point of emphasis, and then hopefully the players will fall in line and they won't have to do it quite so much, and it will still be controversial here and there. The game is about emotion, the game's about passion, so to try and completely take that out of the game is going to be difficult to do.
Yeah, it will be difficult to do because, as you mentioned, the game the game it's the game of emotion. It's the game of passion, and to kind of pull that passion out of pull that passion out of the players. I mean, then you take away from kind of what they bring to the players. I thought you want that passion, and they should want that passion. So we'll see how it works. But yeah, it was just kind of weird to have that situation happen, right in front of us in a practice game, and was able to talk to the ref about that or talk to Jim about that. So, what are you doing with DeShaun Watson? Well, are you letting DeShaun Watson practice, or are you letting him play?
Oh, sure, you let him practice as long as he can, as long as the league allows it. I mean, get as many reps in at with the new coach and understanding the new scheme, the new system. You do as much as you can.
Um, I mean, would you start him unless the NFL told you no?
You start him until the NFL tells you no.
Um,
This isn't like college where they can just retroactively take games away or whatever. He's eligible until he's not eligible. So
okay. So don't you have no hesitation in playing him? Now, do you sign if you're Philly or you're Miami? teams most likely to trade for him. Do you trade for him, or do you wait until he's penalized by the NFL?
No, you don't trade for him. It's too much uncertainty going on. Unless Houston wants those 2/5.
Well, I'm giving him a second and third. I give him a second and third for the next
No.
two twos, 2 threes.
No, you're not.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
no, you have absolutely no idea if this person is ever going to play in the NFL,
and that's why I give him 2 twos.
That's why I give him 2/5
for the next 2 years. It's worth it. 2 twos,
give him the Hennessy and give him the Goose. 2/5.
I mean, no, that's way you can't get. That's way. See, I mean, you've been hanging around with Snyder and Pete Carroll too long. That you guys.
No, I mean, you don't even know if this. You don't even know if this dude is going to play. You have no idea what's coming down the pipeline. Why would you trade for someone like that?
Because of his potential. That's why.
Yeah, but you're completely disregarding the potential that he may not play ever again.
Oh, he'll play sometime. It's like, will he play before
you don't know that.
Before
you
those
do not know that. Yeah, have you seen all the footage?
And that's the thing. There's no footage.
You've heard some of the. I've heard some of the.
I've heard some of the
okay.
language.
Okay.
I've heard.
So if there's some footage to go along with that, you'd be a little perturbed, wouldn't you?
But again, it's all.
It wouldn't be prudent as a billionaire to trade for an asset that you have absolutely no idea what is going to happen in the future. Billionaires are not dumb.
And they also buy low. And
right, which is why you get 2/5. You get the Hennessy and you get the Grey Goose. You get the dark and the light, but that's all you get.
That's a little low. And again, you hanging out there with Pete Carroll. I mean, I know you get your taxes.
Why is that low to trade for someone that you don't know if they'll ever play in the NFL?
Why is that low? What? Because he's an all-pro.
That's like trading 2 first-round picks for Ray Rice.
No,
it's just not a smart move.
Ray Rice had video. Ray Rice.
So you know all the video that's out there?
Well,
or not out there that you haven't seen yet?
I mean, we would have seen the video.
So Cam, if there was some video to put together with some of the transcripts you've read, you think he's going to play again?
Listen. I tried to touch on this before.
It's why you get 2/5. The light and the dark. That's all you get.
It comes down. There's certain cities. He's not going to Arizona, even though they had Kyler Murray. He's not going to Arizona. Okay, he's not going to Seattle, even though I know you guys have Russell Wilson, and you guys are going to need a quarterback after this season. He's not going to Seattle. Seattle would not accept it. However, South Beach, South Florida, they're not concerned. Me so horny. That was a chart-topping song back in the day. Have you been to a club in South Florida? Have you been to a nightclub in South Florida?
I have been to a 305.
You would know if you've been to a nightclub in South Florida. This
is not a nightclub question, Cam. This is a question as to whether Roger Goodell will say, "Yeah, dude, I saw the video, and you can't play in this league ever again."
No,
we'll reconsider it in 2 years from now. You're not trading a bunch of multiple high picks for that. You have no idea what's going to happen. You get 2/5. The light and the dark, man. That's it. You don't even get tequila thrown in there. You get the light and the dark. That's it.
It's going to be interesting. And you know where I'm going with this. There's certain areas, there's certain teams, there's certain communities.
Oh, yeah. There are certain demographics of the country that would be more accepting and more forgiving of the whole picture and situation.
Exactly my point.
However, it's not up to them and their demographic and how they feel as a people. It's up to the NFL and what the evidence shows them.
Yeah, but
if the evidence,
if the owner could,
Damn, you've
if the
already
owner
said the
could commit,
transcripts are disturbing, and if there was video to go along with that, that dude is not playing. And if there's multiple occurrences of this, wow.
Is there
What are we
video
talking
or
about?
if there's video, if there's recordings, yes, it's gonna be a bad
Okay.
look, yes. But we would have seen that by now. It's been 6 months.
Would we have?
It's been 6 months.
No. Is there somebody sitting out there that's just been kind of sitting in the stands like, I'm not really comfortable with doing that, and this thing has gone so far. I think it's time for me to step forward and kind of, say my piece as well.
So they're waiting for him to get traded and have and announce a start date. A date that he's on.
They're waiting to see how things transpire. They may be getting confidence. People may be talking to them in the wings. You don't know.
I mean, we've been waiting for 6 months. What's the debate? I mean, what's the challenge? I mean, I don't understand. Well,
because of the nature of what these accusers have been going through, it may take a little more time for them to feel comfortable with coming forward with what it is that they have. Now, if they come forward with something, it's just like, oh, okay, you guys thought we were just joking. Oh, okay. Well, here's this from my phone.
and I mean, there's going to be
hope TMZ doesn't get to it first, because trust me, they're digging.
Oh my goodness! So there may be some pictures of screenshots of.
No, there might be more than that, Cam. You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know for certain, but I would think what we do know is we haven't seen nothing by now. That's what I'm saying. And
what we do know is you're not trading two.
Come on,
what we do know
is
you're not trading 2 first-round picks and a player for somebody that you're uncertain if they'll ever play.
You didn't hear what I said.
An NFL season again.
I got two twos and 2 threes. Come on down, Houston. Let's get it done. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if something changes from next week. But Cleveland, what's your takeaways from the preseason games over the weekend? What's your big takeaways?
Cam, I did watch some preseason for the first time in a long time, and one of my biggest takeaways was the way Jacoby Brissett looked for the Miami Dolphins running that offense. Man, he looks like a very formidable number 2, and if something unfortunately happens to Tua Tagovailoa along the way, he may be kind of a number 1. Looked poised there in the pocket. He ran the offense very efficiently, no red zone turnovers, and scored a touchdown. I like the way Jacoby Brissett was playing. He really stuck out to me in the preseason.
He's a veteran. He should stick out. He should play.
Okay, well, I mean, he's taking his role as kind of guiding Tua to the next level, in stride, man. He looks like he is going to be that rock that Tua can lean on if things go, sideways, so to speak. And someone that the franchise can rely on if, Tua is not, physically healthy enough to, finish out the season.
Oh, really? So now you want to question Tua's health?
Not questioning his health.
After
all 16, I'm saying
after
is
16 months, you want to question.
You asked me what stuck out in the preseason, and it was the poise with which Jacoby Brissett led the Miami Dolphins down the field to a score. I was impressed.
Okay, were you equally impressed or more impressed with Justin Fields?
Justin Fields was cool, man. A lot of running around from the pocket, and he threw some all right balls, man. I wasn't nearly as impressed as I was with Jacoby.
So what Jacoby came in after Tua played. What did you think about Tua? Since you spent so much time critiquing.
Oh, I mean, I thought that he was masterful. I think was he like 9 for 11 for like 40 yards. I mean, like he was very efficient coming down the field. Unfortunately, red zone turnover, but those things can be corrected, going into the season. I thought he did great until that red zone turnover that I saw.
Well, I mean, red zone turnover, that's how it's funny how a lot of people want to excuse that. Oh, man, that's coaching. Oh, man, that's just getting the feel of the game. That's getting your timing right. I mean, he's a quarterback. You should know the difference between a high side safety and a low side safety. When you see the low side safety, you know you got to throw the ball over his head, or you see the high side safety, you got to go throw it underneath. You should know the difference as playing a quarterback for as many years as he played. You should see that and understand that difference. So that's not as easily excusable for me as it is for others. But I'm looking at it through a fine tooth comb, and so I appreciate your feedback. Jacoby Brissett might be in Houston by week 3, so I'm not putting too many hopes in him, but we know he probably should have stayed in Indianapolis. He probably should have still been there because we see what's going on there and how they can't keep.
Okay, Cam.
Healthy.
Rather than try and besmirchify Jacoby Brissett's good name, let's go back to the question. What really impressed me in the preseason, the games that I was watching, and it was just the poise and the control and the command that Jacoby Brissett had over the team. It wasn't really to rake him over the coals and tell him where he should have went or stayed in free agency. I mean, we don't make those decisions, Cam.
No.
And Flores was perfectly fine with the turnover in the red zone. It's a correctable mistake. So, you're being a little hard onto it. It's going to take some time. Hey, maturation process is not always the way that you would like it to go.
On another topic, Dan Orlovsky played for the Detroit Lions. What is his highlight? What is his highlight of his NFL action?
Oh, I don't know. Nothing that really comes to mind readily.
Nothing that comes to your mind. Do you recall when Dan Orlovsky takes a snap? Detroit Lions snapped the ball from their 2-yard line, and so he's already 7 yards in the end zone, and he rolls out and rolls. Not only does he roll out, but he rolls backwards like 3 yards out of bounds, and he's still rolling out like he doesn't even know he's out of bounds. He rolls out of bounds and then try to complete a pass, but he's out of bounds. Like he's already had the safety and took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps in the safety. How is this guy talking football? How is he coaching anybody up in football? That's the question I have every time I see him. Like I remember that vividly. Like how is this guy coaching anybody up on football? And he's an ESPN announcer. Just that is absolutely hysterical to me. Like, dude. He might be able to get Cleveland and then some of these other fans that listen to the show who really start watching football in 2010. He might be able to get some of those guys. But somebody who's like myself who's been watching football since 81. Well, I mean, come on. You're going to have to come. I need somebody with a little bit more accomplishments before I can tune in and turn the volume on to listen to that guy. That's me in particular.
That's fair.
That's me in particular. So what did your Seahawks do over the weekend? I didn't get a chance to see what Russell looked like. What's that offensive line look like?
Russell didn't play, nothing much. The starters weren't out there. The other players got a chance to get some run in, which is great. Get some stuff on tape, either, if they become free agents or, we make that determination that they're going to be a Hawk, they got a chance to put some stuff on film, which is great.
What about your young receiver? Did he get out there? Did he get a chance to make some plays?
No, nothing to speak on, Cam.
That you don't want to speak on camera. Is that what you said?
I said nothing to speak on, Cam. Nothing, tremendous or major. No.
Did he play?
I don't recall. I mean, I didn't watch a whole lot of the game. I think the highlight of the game was the way Alton Robinson played. DN from Syracuse. He had some good plays. The linebackers played very formidable, given the fact that they don't have KJ Wright at this point. Hopefully he comes back.
Oh, come
on back, Cam. Come on back, KJ.
Somebody else they don't want to pay. What's another guy they don't want to pay?
Well, apparently nobody wants to pay him because he's still a free agent. So let's not make it just a Seahawk thing, okay? And other than that, I mean, it was a relatively, vanilla type of performance. Really, nothing really stands out.
Okay.
Did sign Jamal Adams over the, very recently though.
So that was your big deal.
That's helpful.
That was your big deal, and so you're going to get 11 or 12 games out of him this year.
The over-under is 14 as we agreed upon. I think, slightly under.
Yeah. You said 11. That's 11 or 12, right? I mean, I don't know.
That's more like 14, 13, somewhere in there.
Okay. So some key cuts that we have. Obviously, Tim Tebow got cut. I mean, how you feel about that? They blew up the highlights on a couple blocks that he attempted to make over the last week in that first preseason game. Was that the reason he got cut, or was that just an example of his inability to play the?
For sure. I mean, Urban was going to give him every opportunity to succeed, which I believe he did. Yeah. And giving him those opportunities, he just wasn't able to succeed, unfortunately. And he looked very out of place, and like he really shouldn't be on an NFL roster playing the position that he was trying to play.
So you're good with cutting them.
Good with cutting them.
No hard feelings.
No hard feelings. We tried.
Does somebody else pick him up?
No.
So his career is done in the NFL.
His career is done.
Okay, that's fair.
Back to the booth.
Back to the booth, huh? What about Josh Rosen? Man, how was?
Well, let's talk about Josh for a minute. I mean, you remember? I mean, he was in Arizona. That was supposed to be the thing for him. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. The Miami Dolphins tried to give him, a false sense of confidence. But Cam, you know the way the Dolphins treat quarterbacks. I mean, ever since Dan Marino retired, it's just been a rotating door at that position, right? And they really try and play with people's confidence. Ask Ryan Tannehill about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what could he have been?
What did I'm not sure.
Ask Ryan Fitzpatrick about that. How he felt when they said, "Oh, okay, you've played enough games. You get us right in playoff contention, but it's time for us to, flip the script on this. Time to see what Tua got for us."
That was
what I'm saying? So they don't have a big track record of treating their quarterbacks very well. And so then, after that experiment, he goes out to San Francisco, and it was a fiasco. It's unfortunate, but I really think that his time in the 305 is what really kind of got him on that downward spiral. And he just wasn't able to recover, Cam. Just wasn't really able to shake that feeling.
Is that what it was? Is that what happened?
That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, so go back. Yeah, he got drafted number 10 in Arizona. The very next year, they drafted Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
The very next year. So, did he get a fair shake in Arizona? Who knows?
Well, he certainly didn't get a fair shake in Miami. We know that 100% for sure.
I thought it was bad. It was a bad job of coaching. There's no way that Ryan Fitzpatrick should have been playing in front of Josh Rosen. There's no way. It's Josh Rosen, the number 10 draft pick, should have been starting. And then if he couldn't win some games, then you bring Fitzpatrick in. You don't start Fitzpatrick, the old guy who's going to win you 5-6 games a year. You don't do that. You don't. You just that was bad coaching right there. And then they did it the next season. And then that's why I was screaming for Tua to play midway through the season last year, is because you already know what Fitzpatrick is going to give you. Saying the way they did Fitzpatrick, bro. We know you have a track record. You're good for 6-7 wins at the most. You're halfway there at 3. You're halfway there. Great. You were 3-3. Let's not act like he's setting the world on fire.
Oh, Cam, they were way past that when they made the switch last year. Man, come on now.
They were 3-3.
Come on.
You got to pull it up. They were 3-3.
No.
They won 2 games in a row.
They were not 3-3. They were rolling. They were rolling when they
had 2 wins in a row. They
were rolling.
They beat the Jets.
They were rolling.
No, they weren't rolling.
Fitzmagic.
No, they beat the Jets. They beat the Jets 33-0, I think. And then the next they went on a bye.
Something like that?
No,
they were rolling.
Stop it. Get out of here, man. You know, revisionist history right now.
They were
That's
rolling.
what happened. But either way, Rosen should have been starting over.
And he started crying. He said he started talking about how hard it was to train his replacement, and then he cried.
And this is a guy. This is your guy who you say should be starting all along, and your guy who's now leading your Washington football team that you're so confident in winning that division this season. This is your guy you're talking about now.
I'm just saying. I'm just talking about how the Miami Dolphins do quarterbacks. And you asked the question originally was Josh Rosen, what happened? And it's like, man, I think he never recovered from his experience in the 305. So it was never the same guy after that.
You just want to take a dig. You just want to take a dig out of 305.
Quarterbacks go to 305 to die.
Oh my goodness gracious! So is Tua going to change this?
Be disrespected and roughed up.
So is Tua going to change this image for you?
Fingers crossed, right?
Oh, he's just a bitch. Come on, he's just a bitch. Yeah, Josh Rosen.
He has all the talent in the world and all the support around him. I mean, I certainly hope so.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens if Josh Rosen can get back in the league somehow. Did he have a ring because he played? Wasn't he the backup to Tampa Bay last season? Josh Rosen might have a ring. While you talking all this ish, Josh Rosen might have a ring because he played backup to the to your boy Tom Busy.
I mean, maybe so.
But yeah,
once you get one of them rings, Cam, they kind of give them out. They're billionaires that are doing it. So yeah, they don't really pay that much attention, you know.
No, it doesn't look like he was on that.
As Mr. Ballmer, we'll find out if he ever has an opportunity to get a championship. And best luck to you, Mr. Ballmer, in doing so. We're on football right now, so I don't want to digress too far. But I'm just saying, billionaires, they really don't really care about that kind of stuff. So Rosen might have a championship ring, might have a Super Bowl ring.
He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't.
Okay, well, moving right along.
So the Raiders, another guy. And I know what you're thinking about this guy, but Bo Scarborough coming out of college, another big cat who can run. Man, I thought he was going to do damage in the NFL, and he's been on like 3 teams so far. Like,
it's hard to fathom a dude that big, strong, and powerful not being able to stay healthy. But that dude cannot stay healthy to save his life, man. But when he gets running north and south, man. Derrick Henry 2.0. I mean, I don't know, man. That dude is bigger than Derrick Henry. Man.
I thought he was going to be dangerous in the NFL. If it's injuries, that's a problem. I guess that's understandable. But I expected big things from Bo Scarborough, and he's out of the league once again. I think somebody would pick him up. Hell, the Dolphins need a big back.
Dolphins got Myles Gaskin and Salvon Ahmed. They're okay at back. Stop it. They're okay. They're okay at running back.
Stop it. Don't stop it. I mean, let's see if somebody picks up Scarborough because I just think he
gotta try at least one more time, right? It's just too big and powerful.
Yeah,
and when you see what he can do when he's right, you gotta hope he's right. Like you can get him when he's right for a couple of plays, couple of games. Alfred Morris is, he might be just a little too long in the tooth right now. Yeah.
He had a couple surprising years, if you will, and just couldn't carry that on to consistency. But he's been in the league a good 6-7 years, so
good for him.
Kerryon Johnson. Now, if the Eagles cut you at running back, I mean, I don't know. He was in Detroit once they drafted Swift. Detroit didn't have. They needed to make room for Swift. He wasn't going to get the carries there, but I mean, he was.
Kerryon, stay in shape. 12, week 12, 13, week 12, week 13, you'll get a call.
I think he was 1,000-yard back in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he may have had a season where he, went over 1,000.
And just to be ousted from the league like that, it's that's kind of surprising because he couldn't. he just couldn't get his footing. Let me see. Did he get in Detroit? No, his biggest year, his rookie season at 640, 641, averaging what 3.2, and then as a rookie, he had 403, and not as a rookie, excuse me, in the second year. So 1,000 yards in total. For his career though, he's averaging 4.3 yards a carry. It was his rookie year; he averaged 5.4. So 4.3 yards a carry, that's league average. So that's surprising that he got bounced. And then Lamar Miller, I mean, what can you say?
He can stay in shape as well. He's one of those I'll say, hey, stay in shape, Lamar.
I don't think he's going to get a
Stay
phone
in
call.
shape.
I don't think
Consummate pro. Can pick up that offense really quick. Somebody's in a pinch. He's your dude.
I mean, he had a couple good fantasy games, but I don't think he's going to be that guy. I don't think he's going to make another roster, be a heavy contributor. But who I was surprised at was Prince Akamura, he got drafted. I think he was the number one draft pick by the Giants.
Prince
Played,
Mukamara. Yeah,
yeah,
he's not who we thought he was.
apparently
Nebraska
not.
was an apparition. He's not that dude.
It goes to the Saints, and they as bad as they need cornerbacks, they cut them. Like that. That's a couple of side tales. So when the Eagles cut you, cut a running
Eagles
back
cut you at running back, and the Saints cut you at
at corner, yeah,
cornerback. It's
it might be
yeah,
time.
writing might be on the wall there.
It might be time. But yeah, because Prince Akamukamura, just like you say, uh, Nebraska fooled us all. His time at Nebraska kind of fooled us all, man. So that was surprising. Those are some of the key cuts. Were there any other key cuts that you noticed that kind of surprised you, caught you off guard?
I saw Deion Sanders, or sorry, Deion Sanders, Deion Lewis, kind of
From
go
Tennessee?
gracefully into that night, and respected that, man. But no, not yet. The next ones are going to be deep
Yeah. So they brought
because we
back
don't have as much time for these cuts, so they kind of make the decisions quite a bit faster. So after this
well,
next game, you're going to see some real notable names.
it's going to be next week. The 25th is their next cut down, and they have to go from. I think they have to get rid of. Give me a sec. I'll tell you right now. Give me a sec. I get my notebook. I know this is bad radio team or bad podcast, but I'm gonna be exact for you guys because I do have this. I was curious about this and in talking to a couple of PR people. This was concerning to me, so I know I have it written down. But yeah, they brought back the progressive cuts. Last year was just one lump sum cut. This year they go from 80. They go down to 85 by the 17th, which was yesterday. They had to get to the 17th yesterday at 1 o'clock Eastern. Yesterday 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so that's 1 o'clock here in the West Coast. They got to go from 85 to 80 on the 24th. 85 to 80 on the 24th again by 1 o'clock, and then in 2 weeks is a big cut when they have to go from 80 to 53 um, by August 31. Again at 1 p.m. And then after that, that's the next day, September 1, is when they get busy trying to fill their practice squads. They can have 16 players on the practice squad, 6 veterans. A veteran would be considered somebody with 3 years or more in the league. They can have 6 veterans, and then the rest will be kind of rookies or undrafted free agents or whatever the case may be. But then they have to make those negotiations with the players. Sometimes the vets don't want to make that sacrifice. I think it's like vets might get like $2,000 a day or $2,000 a week. I think as long as they're on a team. And when they're brought up, if they're brought up, say from the practice squad to being one of the 53, if they're under contract, they get their contract back. They get that contract. So until they're part of the team, that's when they get their actual contract back. But if they're just on the practice squad, I think it's $1,500 to $2,000 a day. It might be $2,000 for the rookie or $1,500 for the rookies. Everybody below the 3-year mark, and then it's $2,000 a week until they make the price. Until they make the actual team. So it's not great money, but it's paid, and they get to work at their craft. And then the hope is obviously that they keep putting stuff on film, and then somebody else picks them up. So that's the hope there. This week, Cleveland, we decided to look at the AFC East and kind of see what the AFC East is going to look like in prediction. So now this is our final pick, fans. Our final pick of the divisions. So next week, we already have our division leaders. We're going to have to pick who's making the playoffs out of these divisions. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll make our Super Bowl determinations. But we're in agreement here. We both have the Bills winning this division, slightly winning this division. I think they're going to be – it's going to be a hot contest between the Dolphins, I think, and the Patriots. It's weird to say this, but I'm a fan of number 50 for the Patriots, Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is kind of going to be what the Patriots kind of want and need. And when do you think Mac Jones – when does Mac Jones take over for Cam Newton? What's the over? Does Cam start? What's his over under? Does Cam start 6 games for the Patriots this season?
I like 7 games as the over under. I'll take the over.
I'm not sure it's going to be. I'm not sure it's going to be 7 games. I think not only are they looking for, they're not. It's not that they're looking for an excuse to bench Cam. They're looking for an excuse to get Mac Jones on the field, and they play. Their schedule is they have the Dolphins. They open up against the Dolphins. They welcome the Dolphins to New England on the 12th. They have the Jets. They have the Saints. And they have the Buccaneers. So they're 4 games. Cam will absolutely start there without unless he gets hurt. Knock on wood. I'm not hoping for injury, but for anybody. But barring any injury, Cam starts games 1, 2, 3, and 4 without question. The results of that night game against the Buccaneers is what determines how much longer Cam is going to play. Because
Cam. I mean, given that schedule, I mean, Cam is definitely going over. They're coming out of that 3-1.
They're going to lose the first game of the year and then win the rest of those games.
Quite possibly, because they're going to beat Tampa Bay.
Then why do you think they're going to beat Tampa Bay? I'm just curious.
Oh, Cam.
Just curious.
Why are they going to beat Tampa Bay?
Just curious as to why you think they're going to beat Tampa Bay.
Because the talent is going to have that moment where he's not quite sure how he feels about the whole thing, and emotions will play a part. So he won't play as well as he should, and the New England Patriots will take advantage. It'll be an emotional game for Tom.
Oh, okay. So no credit to the coach having the Patriots ready.
It'll be an emotional game for Tom. The way that he reacts to, playing the team that he basically,
what
came to prominence with. I mean, it's going to be a funny feeling. He may not be himself.
Okay. So after that, they have they have the Texans, and then they play the Cowboys, and then they play the Jets again. So
5-2.
If they're not 5-2,
tough time to bench them, right?
If they're not 5-2,
they're 4-3. They're not going to bench them.
The young boy comes in the game
because the division's not going to get out of hand ever.
Well, so I
mean,
have them
unless the Buffalo Bills just come out like the Buffalo Bills, like the young
gangbusters,
up and comer that
gangbusters.
they're, you know,
We'll see.
forecast to be.
We'll see how far Stephon Diggs can lead these guys. We'll see how far that Stephon Diggs can carry these guys.
Mhm.
But I think if they're not so we just went over their first 7 games. If they're not 5-2 or 4-3, I mean that's a game away. The young boys going in the game.
Fair. Or if Cam is ineffective or gets hurt. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a short leash. Let's not get it twisted here.
Yeah. So I think they're looking for an opportunity to get him in the game, and I truly believe that. So, none. With that being said, I think the Patriots and the Dolphins are going to be competing for that number 2 spot in the division, and they're going to be a game or two away. Because sadly to say, is the Dolphins aren't secure. A couple of things that the Dolphins' offensive line is still porous. We know their quarterback is already timid anyway. I mean, he's coming off an injury. We're supposed to be healthy, but once he gets racked up a couple of times, that confidence is going right out the window. And he's going to be unsure of himself. His wrist is going to start hurting again. His hips are going to start hurting again. One of those ankles is going to start hurting.
Hey, Ken, why don't you try and be a little bit more optimistic, man?
I would if we had an opportunity.
As Steve Nelson just texted me. Hold on one second.
You pull out the flip phone. You pull out the flip phone.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Tell Steve I said what's up.
Steve's like, hey man, if you don't want to be a part of this, then jump the hell off.
Is that what he said?
Time.
Oh, now it's Tua time. Now he's trying to sing the song Tua time. Listen, you know what? Listen, as I mentioned, there's going to be some things. Tua's clearly given the opportunity. Until DeShaun Watson comes to town, it's your train, it's your bus. You're driving. You're in the driver's seat. Jacoby Brissett is there in case he's behind the glass. In case of emergency, break the glass. I don't want to see Jacoby Brissett. I don't want to see him on the field. In case of emergency, break the glass. That's why he's there. Tua, it's all you. Can you stay healthy? Can you make plays? We can't make excuses for you when you get in the red zone and start throwing picks, talking about, oh, this is a growing opportunity.
Cam, you have to give him his time to maturate. It's a process.
I thought he was good. I thought he was the number 5 pick. I thought he was that guy.
And
Joe Burrow
may very well be that guy, but you have to give him time sometimes.
Justin Herbert didn't need that time. He got 31
I mean, did Kurt Warner light it up right away? No.
Oh my goodness.
But he's a Hall of Famer.
Now you're calling him Kurt Warner? Now you're trying to compare him to the Kurt Warner?
I'm just saying sometimes it's not the traditional path to greatness, Cam. Sometimes the road's a little windy. That's all that I'm saying.
So you're trying to – now you threw a Kurt Warner, the guy who was bagging groceries, comparing him to the number 5 draft pick. That's what you just did. That's what you just did.
No, what I said was, for example, Kurt Warner was not a straight line to greatness. However, he is wearing a Hall of Fame gold jacket. Give Tua his time.
How much time do we need? How much time do you give the number 5 draft pick?
Well, Cam, let's see how this season goes, okay? Let's see how this season goes.
Oh, my goodness. You're already irking my nerves.
I'm not quite sure you guys are going to make the playoffs, but I mean,
as I stated,
it's another big step in the right direction. Changing culture and having some success and building on that, building blocks.
They'll be close to the playoffs. They'll be playoff contention. I don't have them making the playoffs. The Patriots will be, they'll be nip and tuck. They're both fighting for that number 2 position. And they're both going to be relatively a game or two out of that. They'll be within a game or two of that second place. And I don't have either one of them making the playoffs. And then the Jets, the Jets are the biplanes. The biplanes. I don't even know if they're going to get off ground. If they're going to be able to get off the tarmac this season. I don't even know if that's going to happen. The young quarterback they're going to throw out there, he's going to take a load of whoopings. I feel bad for the defensive coach. Because he keeps getting overlooked. His defenses keep getting overlooked. He has a wealth of talent on the defense. Where the defense should be middle of the pack, right at the middle of the pack, if not a little bit better. But for the offense, the way the offense looks, the defense, I mean, is going to just they're going to be on the field too much, and they're not going to be able to. The offense will not capitalize on a good defense. I'm having a brain fart of who the coach is, but the defensive coach he was a coach of the Tampa Bay Todd Broyles.
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles, excuse me, thank you. He got an extension, so he should be comfortable per se. However, their offense is going to let the defense down. Just going to leave them on the field too often and for too long, and he's not going to be able to capitalize on what they could do. So that's my prediction for the AFC East. So it looks like you have the same. You got Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and the Jets in that order, right? Do you see it about the same for the Dolphins and the Patriots? Just kind of a game away, a game or two away from having the same record, and a game or two
Toss
away
up could go either way. 9-8, 8-9.
Yeah. Okay.
10-7. Somewhere in there.
Yeah, but not making the playoffs, right?
Probably just missing the playoffs. Yeah.
Right, and then the Jets kind of bringing up the rear, correct? So yeah, that's how I see it. That's how I see the AFC East. Fans, again, next week we're going to have our playoff predictions for the NFL. Since over the last weeks we've already broke down all the divisions. So if you haven't heard that, go ahead and listen to the podcast, Voice of the Fans, on Google, Spotify, Tuned In, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Castbox. Look, either podcast platform that you look. Alexa, tell Alexa to play it. She'll play it, and then you can hear our breakdown of the previous divisions from the previous weeks. Cleveland, let's take a break, man. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Clippers make a trade. The Clippers make a big trade, man. They get rid of some key pieces to their team over the past few years, and the Lakers. They look at Isaiah Thomas is coming to town. Isaiah Thomas, you signed off on that, huh? Let's take we're going to talk about that when we come back. We're going to talk about the Isaiah coming to town. The NBA has their schedule released for opening night and their Christmas Day games. So we're going to talk about that when we come back, Cleveland. Let's take a little break right here. And fans, thank you guys again for tuning in. IT, huh?
What's that?
IT, huh?
Yeah. Just keeps getting better and better, man. I'm already I've already actually contacted Daniels to make sure they have some space available.
Did you?
Yeah, reservations for 2. Shortly after game 5 of what will be scheduled as the NBA Finals next year. So got those dates kind of blocked off.
You blocked off, huh? Blocked them off.
Well, I mean, I've asked them if they have availability, and they said for sure. So I'm already penciled. We're already penciled in. So.
Well, thank you for doing the legwork for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. No problem, man.
I appreciate that because I'm looking forward to that meal and for the payback, the big payback. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I know it. Trying to go through the Los Angeles Lakers to do so. Yeek. Tough one, but that's okay. It's kind of how these things happen. You know what I'm saying?
All right, you ready?
Ready to do it.
All right, fans, thank you guys for tuning in to another fantastic episode of Voice of the Fans podcast. Once again, it is week 152 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. I'm your man, Cam. That is your man, Cleavon, up in the Northwest, wearing his Philadelphia 76ers colors today. Back up. Let them see the shirt.
Oh, the Harlem Stickball team.
Okay. All right. Look at that. Cleveland, Embiid gets paid.
For sure.
Negotiated on contract. Thinking over 260 mil, something like that. Embiid gets the big dollars. What do you think? What do you see now that happens in Philadelphia? Are you okay with the signing? Are you good with the signing? And then what happens in Philadelphia to make them contenders again?
100% good with the signing. I think best case scenario is they trade Ben Simmons before training camp starts and get some significant pieces back. Worst case scenario, they try and put what happened last year in the playoffs behind them, and hopefully Ben Simmons can shoot a little bit better and they can get a little bit further along.
So you have Ben Simmons still on the team. You don't have Ben Simmons getting traded.
No, I said best case scenario, he's gone by training camp.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say that he's still there. Preferably, he would not be. It's just not a good situation. But if he is, hopefully his shooting has gotten markedly better, and they're able to make that next leap in the playoffs that they weren't able to make last season.
Well, he's been working on his shot. You know,
I mean, it can't get any worse. So I mean, anything that he does, if he uses 2%, would be an improvement. I mean, hopefully he's not passing up, slam dunks just because he's afraid to get fouled, But hopefully he's not there at all. I mean, just for everybody's sake. But it's hard to trade a talent like Ben Simmons, especially when, his trade value is somewhat diminished by his playoff performance. So it's not an easy thing to do, but I think they can get some legitimate pieces for him. It's just going to take some time.
Send him to Portland for Dame. One for one.
That would be awesome.
One for one.
It wouldn't be a good look for your Knicks. For your Nets. But yeah, that would be awesome.
They're still.
However, what I'm hearing is that CJ is the most you're going to get for Ben Simmons. So you can't get a Dame dollar for him.
I mean, if that's, I guess if you wait till All-Star break, then let Dame get disgruntled, and then Portland will have no choice but to go ahead and unload their dead weight, right?
That's possible as well.
Yeah, so we'll see how that transpires. But talk about trade, the Clippers acquire Eric Bledsoe for Rondo, Beverly, and Uchuro, their draft pick from last season. Cleveland, I contend. Let me give you my feedback over the trade initially. I think that was a whole lot for trade for Eric Bledsoe today. I contend the Clippers should have never got rid of Eric Bledsoe when they sent Eric Bledsoe and what was the guy from Indiana, the set shot, just Eric Gordon. They should have never traded Eric Bledsoe and Gordon to New Orleans for Chris Paul. They should have never did that. I didn't like that trade at the time. And looking back at it years later, it really didn't do much for the Clippers. I mean, looking back at it, really didn't do a whole lot. They had some highlights. They had some highlights for a few seasons, but it didn't get them over the mountain, right? Chris Paul didn't get them over the mountain, so over the mountaintop, and they could have did that same thing.
I'm sorry, weren't you saying Chris Paul was a top 10 point guard of all time, like just a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
You tell me Bledsoe and Gordon aren't worth a top 10 point guard of all time, in your opinion?
At the time, I would not have made that trade.
And fast forward, man.
At the time,
man, fast forward.
What do you mean?
Your point is moot, man. You call somebody a top 10 point guard of all time, and then tell me that Bledsoe and Gordon's too much to give up for him? No,
that was
there's no point there.
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
No, I'm not.
At the time that
I'm not because you already said that Chris Paul is a top 10 point guard all time.
Yeah,
you already knew the death about this.
That's today. That was 7 years later.
I can't hear you.
that was 7 years later.
Man, something's wrong with your mic. I can't hear you. You said Bledsoe and Gordon was too much to give up for in the top 10 point guards of all time. We gotta move along.
Would you have made that move for Eric Bledsoe? Would you have traded Eric Bledsoe and Eric Gordon for Chris Paul what was it, 2011? I think it was
Small
2012.
price to pay for one of the top 10 point guards of all time in some people's minds. Small price to pay.
It was there were some other factors in the trade, but that was the key. Those were the key guys. I wouldn't have traded them because they were young. I think Bledsoe was in his third year.
Yeah,
was
Chris Paul was young back then too. That was like 10 years ago.
Paul,
nah, man.
Chris Paul was at least
man.
7 or 8 years.
Nah, it was a good trade.
I don't know. As I mentioned, it didn't really get them. It didn't get them any further than they haven't been. It's not like Paul George leading them to the Western Conference Finals. It wasn't that type of trade. So, but anyway, they trade Rajon Rondo, Patrick Beverly, who had a long week. He goes from LA to Memphis to Minnesota.
Minneapolis.
I'm not sure he's gonna make training camp in Minnesota. And then Pachuro, their second round draft pick. Do you like the trade? What do you think this trade does for the Clippers? I mean, Eric Bledsoe's not really a distributor. He's not really a scorer. He's not really a shooter. The best thing he does is play defense.
They had moved on from Beverly, unfortunately. Gave him as much as he could. And it was financially, incentivized. So they did the right thing.
So
moving in a different direction.
When you talk about financially incentivized, if your buddy Steve Ballmer, what did you call him? What is he? What is Steve Ballmer? What achievement did he make over about 3 weeks ago?
Oh, he crossed the 100 billion threshold. One of the 10 richest people in the history of the world.
If that guy is trying to save some money, I mean, the world's in trouble right now. If he's looking for Groupon, he downloaded the Groupon app and he's looking for ways.
Well, hey, how do you think he got to be a multi-billionaire, Cam? By being shrewd and prudent. He understands how this works. And unfortunately, Patrick Beverly just didn't make the cut, man. So he was a great Clipper while he was there. I'm sure Ballmer will tell you the same. It's just time to move on. We're trying, your Clippers, Mr. Ballmer's Clippers, are trying to win a championship, man. And sometimes tough decisions have to be made.
So that means now, if Visa Zubac is the longest tenured Clipper on the team right now, so they're looking to a visa for leadership. That's kind of awkward. How would a visa look like in the purple and gold? Oh, let's not even go there. Let's not even go there. I think we got him for a Pizza Hut pizza a few years ago. Talk about that purple and gold. Isaiah Thomas, you guys called Isaiah after he puts up 81 in the summer league game?
Yes.
You guys called up Isaiah. Explain to me how Isaiah, he didn't work with LeBron in Cleveland, but now you think Isaiah, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. How many balls you guys expect him to try to play with this year? You guys petition him, Adam Silver, let's play with 2 balls or what? How's this going?
The same basketball, the same one as everyone else can.
I mean, another ball dominant shooter. I mean, another defensive liability. That's who you're bringing onto the squad.
Complete confidence in Coach Vogel to make it all work. We put the pieces together. Ultimately they develop chemistry and everything will be fine. Isaiah and LeBron have mended fences. Oh, they're willing to go forward. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't sound like you're very confident in that mending of the fence, actually.
Well, I mean, things didn't go quite the way as planned. We know when they traded Kyrie for Isaiah. I mean, that's a tough trade, right? And, he wasn't 100% healthy when they did it. And, unfortunately, things didn't transpire the way that they would have liked. But, it's 2021, 2022. Get that 18. Isaiah's been through a lot of trials and tribulations. No reason he can't get a ring right along with Carmelo and, kind of, solidify his career.
Interesting. So Darren Collison, they're working him out as well. I mean, that would be a much better pick. I mean, you kind of reunite that UCLA backcourt from when When was that? 2006, 2007?
You like it, right?
I mean, I'm just thinking about how long ago that was, that backcourt.
I know, amazing that they were talented enough then to win national championship. But still, put it back together, man. That's a possibility as well. Who says we can't bring both those guys on, Cam? We don't know just yet. It's early.
Who says the salary cap says you can't bring both of these guys on?
Oh man, I think both those guys will play for the minimum. We'll talk about it. I think LeBron will tell them about some other ideas and opportunities he has on the other side. They might want to get involved in.
Oh, he gonna put them in a movie or promote some tequila or something?
I didn't say exactly what the opportunity would be. That he is one that is afforded, multiple opportunities, and sometimes, maybe you put a little of your cheese with his and see what happens. So,
what do they got? The Sugar Hill or what's a promotion company?
Again, there's multiple opportunities. I can't just narrow it down to just the one. It's a lot of things that go on. The LeBron James enterprise.
Was any of this tampering?
How's it tampering?
Should Silver be looking into any of this?
Isaiah Thomas comes up to, the crossover, an event held by, 206 royalty, Jamal Crawford. He puts up 81. Everyone goes, well, damn, he can still score, even if it's against some pro-am dudes. 81's kind of impressive. Why don't we bring you into camp, see what you got left? Okay, let me pack my bags, come down and see what's up.
So how many quarters did this go to double overtime? This game here where he put up 81, was this double?
Man,
overtime?
I think it was like 14 minutes. Man, he just threw up like 81 points. It was amazing. It was spectacular.
The 14-minute quarters.
I think it was like 14 minutes. He put up the 81 points. It was, it was just raining buckets, man. You know how Isaiah does things.
He was just hot that day, and back home and nobody was guarding him.
Couldn't be stopped.
Oh my goodness gracious! All right, well, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this team comes together, man. It's going to be fascinating to watch. I mean, even kind of like a car crash. Nobody can turn their head. Everybody kind of sees it happens. And I'm gonna give you a little picture here. Coming back from Vegas a couple months ago.
Okay.
And it was the sun is just coming up, so it was dawning, if you will, because the sun wasn't up, but it's still light out, like it's moments before the sun comes out. And I'm doing 95, but the car speeds by me, had to be doing 110, right? And it wasn't a crowded freeway by no means. However, there are cars on the road. And so the car speeds by me at about 110. But in front of him was a motorhome, excuse me. And you get the stupid driver driving behind who's tailgating the motorhome in an open highway for whatever reason, right? But just as this car is racing past me, and I'm watching, he races, so I can kind of see everything that's happening. He races past me, speeds up on the car who's tailgating the mobile home. All of a sudden, that car decides to get over into the fast lane when this guy coming at 110 was getting over into the fast lane. So he ends up swerving, clips the car in the rear bumper. That car spins around and goes out, and then he spins around. And I was kind of worried at that time because I'm hoping he doesn't flip, and then I gotta slam my brakes to avoid it. But he spins around. The first car that got hit spins around and was on the emergency lane on the left side. He spent around and was on the emergency lane on the right side. So I was able just to kind of maintain my speed and keep on through the trouble, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say all that to say that these Lakers, this is what I see from the Lakers. It's going to be interesting to watch these guys. Do they clip the mobile home? Do they spin over? Do they roll over this year? Is there going to be a catastrophe, or what kind of? It's going to be an accident. There's going to be an accident. There's going to be a wreck. What kind of wreck are we going to be watching? And that's going to be the joy of the season, because as you know, then most of the cars coming the opposite way is going to stop and do the rubbernecking. Cars behind us are going to stop. I didn't stop. I just maintained my speed and kept on going. But cars are going to be slowing up. Everybody going to want to stop and put their foot on the brake and then rubberneck and see, what's going on. They're not getting out to help, but they just want to look at the people. That's what's going to happen. The Lakers season is going to be similar to that. There's going to be an accident. There's going to be a big incident. There's going to be a big accident. How big would an accident be? And then obviously all the basketball fans are going to be rubbernecking. That's what the season is going to be like. Do you disagree?
Well, I do, Cam. Actually, how it's going to unfold, and really, the only team that I'm really concerned about is the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh my!
And then I'm not really concerned about them.
Oh my goodness!
Because there's so much personal that would go into that series. Russell has personal business settled with Kevin Durant. He has personal business settled with James Harden, and LeBron James has personal business settled with Kyrie Irving. So, yeah, they don't have enough, given the venom and the fury that those two are going to come with. If they see those guys in a championship, yeah, that's all I'm really concerned with.
You're partially correct. Because the Brooklyn Nets will be they're laying in waiting. The Lakers, they better be concerned with the Warriors, who they play on opening night. They better be concerned with the Phoenix Suns, who put them out the
Warriors don't have any size, don't have anyone that can guard any of the big three. And I'm sorry, who was that second team you just said?
The Suns, who put them out the playoffs last season.
No, the only team that we're worried about in the West is the Denver Nuggets, and that's only Jamal Murray is 100%.
That was my.
And they don't trade Michael Porter Jr. by the deadline.
Oh, they're not going to trade him. That was my next comment. And if Kawhi is playing by All-Star break,
by May or June, is that what you said?
All-Star break. That's in February.
If the Clippers are still in the playoffs by the time Kawhi decides it's time for him to play, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. We know it's up to Kawhi. We know it's up to Kawhi. We know because
the timeline I'm hearing is more like April or May. So that after the All-Star break thing, that's in February. You're tripping, man.
No, it's a 10-month injury.
No, he's not coming back for April or May. So.
Well, of course you.
Even then, it's load management then. So I don't know.
You don't want to hear the truth. I understand that, but when he
don't want to hear the truth.
Like I said, I understand why
that's why he got traded to Toronto. You remember, right? Because he didn't want to play. He wasn't ready, and they got tired of hearing that.
No, because the organization thought he was ready when he wasn't ready. He knows nobody knows nobody but him.
Well, so therefore, like I'm saying, he's not going to be ready till April or May, my friend.
Oh, you talked to Uncle Dennis? Is that what Uncle Dennis told you?
Hey, man. Word on the street.
Mm-hmm. Word on the street. Okay, word on the street. He was going to LA to play with LeBron. That was word on the street a couple years ago.
That was until he imposed his will and asked Mr. Ballmer.
He pulled
a power move. Can you arrange for this to happen? I would like that person to come with me to the Clippers. If he can do that, well, I'm all in. And Mr. Ballmer said, well, sure.
Yeah, come on.
Let me call my guy Clay Bennett, who took the team from me in Seattle when I was about to buy it.
Yeah, don't you know who I am? And so he made it happen. So you're not concerned with the Suns. You're not concerned with the only thing you're concerned with is the Nuggets. I mean, because
yes,
I don't know. The Nuggets will have something for you guys this season. Yes, they certainly will.
Yes, they will.
The Warriors will be better. The Warriors will be contenders.
They will be better.
They'll be.
They're not big enough though.
They will be contenders.
They'll be better, but they're not big enough.
I mean, Wiseman's big enough coming back off his knee.
Oh, for real? For Anthony Davis?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, again.
Oh, and Serge. Serge Ibaka's coming back too. So yeah.
Yeah,
But no, not only really worried about the Nuggets.
He played for the Clippers.
Put it in perspective.
And the Mavericks, I mean,
no,
they're going to have to make some move for.
Nope, not worried about them. They added no shooting.
The unicorn, I mean, the unicorn's got to get traded, so there's still moves to make. The season hasn't started yet. There's still moves to make for the unicorn because they're going to have to. Them like Philadelphia, they have to make a move here before too long, and that's probably what's taking this move so long to make is because the rest of the league knows this. That they have to make some moves. So we'll see what's happening. And the Nets. Come on, the Nets. Again, they're a shoe in. They're a shoe in. I mean, they were a toe in.
Not a shoe in. Not a shoe in. Giannis has already proven what he can do.
Giannis
and Embiid. Yeah, that's a problem.
No, that's only a problem.
And Ice Tray. Give him a little bit of help.
No, there's no problem.
We're not sure. We're not sure.
They're bringing back the same squad. Embiid, unless Dame Lillard goes there and they get rid of
Simmons, Miami with that clamp down defense, they went and got Kyle Lowry. Solidified it with Jimmy. You're going to be here for a minute.
When the season, when you have that season in your cabinet, and when you go to get it, all of a sudden it's all hard and it's not flavorful anymore. That's Kyle Lowry right now. That's Kyle Lowry right now.
He called Kyle Lowry old Lowry's.
That's what it is.
These old Lowry's. He's the old orange Lowry's. Pepper sauce, man.
That seasoning, it just ain't ready no more.
No.
It just ain't ready no more. So that was a good move, but it just ain't ready no more.
Just too late. It's just too late. It's in the back of the cabinet. Cam, you had to pull it back. You had to.
You know how you had
to pat out the bottom of it.
And then it gets the counter to shake it up to try to get something out of it. Yeah. That's cool. By the time the playoffs come, that shaking ain't gonna do no good. So
bloody, but okay.
I do like the Heat. Obviously, I like Bam. I just don't think they got enough help for Bam. Although they did also got Tucker, so Tucker could do some rebounding and what have you. But Bam's still going to be required to be down there in the paint to do most of the dirty work. Tucker's going to be outside to do some of that work. I don't expect them to be in contention for championship of the Eastern Conference. And the Nets got something to prove against the Bucks. The Nets were a toenail away, a big toe away, a shell toe away from going to the finals. And the Bucks went there and capitalized on their opportunity. The Nets got something to prove to them, to prove to those guys. The Celtics aren't ready. The Knicks aren't ready. We talked about the Hawks; they're not going to be ready. Who else you want to bring up? The Sixers, unless they get Dame Dollar, they're not going to be ready. The Nets, come on, man, it's not even a competition. The Nets is going to be in the finals, and they're going to be in the finals, and it depends on if Kawhi comes back soon. When Kawhi comes back, whether it's going to be the Clippers or the Nuggets. That's what it depends on. Sadly, that other team that shares the same stadium as the Clippers, sadly, they're not going to be nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found when playoff time comes. Or, excuse me, when finals time comes. Let me say that, be specific. But we do got some good games, man. On opening day, we will see the Nets and the Bucks. They get their chance to go at it. The Warriors and the Lakers. That's going to be interesting to see these rebuilt Warriors and how they're coming back. They didn't trade their picks. They drafted them. Kind of concerned about that. They used them to draft their players. Kind of concerned about that, but let's give them credit for making good draft picks. They drafted Wiseman. He's going to be back from injury. Clay's going to be back from injury. So let's see how these guys play. They still have Green, obviously, there to kind of coach up some of these young guys. So let's see what they look like. We have the Celtics and the Knicks. That would be good competition. What is that going to be? Your 5 and 6 seed in the East, probably, the Celtics and the Knicks. But it'll be good for the Northeast. And we get the Nuggets and the Suns. That's going to be great competition, right? That opening week.
Not sure Jamal is going to be ready for that one. So maybe not quite the marquee game that we were hoping for, but still a good game nonetheless.
Mavericks and the Hawks. We get to revisit that Trey versus
Oh, now
Luka.
that's lovely. Ooh,
We get to revisit that
now
Trey.
that I do like.
Conversation.
That'll be exciting.
And the Clippers and the Warriors play that Thursday night,
Well,
night 3.
you know,
Yep.
I'm sure you yourself and Mr. Bowman will both say, well, hey, it means nothing because Kawhi is not going to be playing, so it's not really much of a measurable, but entertaining nonetheless. You guys going to be in the Forum by then, or you guys still hanging out at the Staples this year?
No, they're going to be playing at their home stadium in Staples Center for the next couple of years.
I'm sorry.
They're going to be playing at their home stadium at Staples Center in the next couple of years.
Oh, so I thought the Forum was like round the clock. They were working on that.
No, again, the Forum will become a parking lot before long. They're building their Taj Mahal near the Forum. They're building their.
So it's not going to be ready.
No, 24.
So they're still playing the Staples Center then.
24. Their home stadium. Yeah, 24. 2024, 2025.
It's their home stadium when the Lakers lease it to them. Yeah, I understand that part. But the other building, they're not going to for like a couple of years.
Yeah, it's a couple of years. What do you think? Well, you just can't throw greatness.
I was getting overexcited for Mr. Ballmer. I thought he, with the extra, stimulus check he got.
No,
and he was just building this thing.
No, his PP loan
still a ways out.
His PP loan went through, and they put.
You still got to put up the like the black tarps over the banners and whatnot. You still have to go through that ceremony 41 times a year.
There's a button they push now, and it just
it
just comes down.
Because Ballmer's, Mr. Microsoft, right? He's got that auto now, right?
There's just a button that they.
You don't got to go up there and pull it down no more. Now you just like, okay, that's tight.
They got their own facade that comes down when they press a button.
It's got it. Tight. And they all come down at the same time?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna show it to you one day.
That's cool. That's cool.
And Christmas Day, we got Christmas Day games, obviously. The Hawks versus the Knicks. Wake up on Christmas Day, you get that one. You get the Celtics and the Bucks. That's gonna be a blowout right there. You get the Warriors and the Suns. That'll be a competitive game.
That's a high scoring game.
And you get the Nets get to wash the Lakers. Show folks that this is not.
Now hold up.
Now
back up right there. You didn't already woke up Russell Westbrook on Christmas Day. He's already upset, and now you're gonna put Kevin Durant
in front of
him, and James Harden in front of his face.
Oh yes. And
then LeBron didn't get a chance to spin it with Bronny. You gonna put Kyrie Irving in his face?
Oh yes.
They're getting beat up.
What? Remember how your grandmother used to have the washboard in the old bucket in the backyard just washing? Mm-hmm. The Lakers about to get washed just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to.
Hey, remember when your cousin used to disrespect all the time? You thought he wasn't listening to you, and all of a sudden he just kind of showed up at Easter Sunday like, oh, man, I wasn't really expecting to see you here. Who are your friends? Oh, wow. Oh, we got to settle up right now? Yeah. We got to settle up right now.
And they're gonna finish it off with the Mavericks and the Jazz. That should be a pretty good one.
That's not even
that should be a pretty good one. It'll keep you excited. You're not.
Jazz made no moves. They just stayed pat.
No, they got rid of who'd they get rid of? They did make a move. The Jazz did make a move because they don't have. They broke up.
They don't have Derek Favors anymore. Oh.
No, they broke up
that wasn't going to be the difference anyways.
They broke up the school teacher and the other dude.
School teacher.
Yeah. Why am I having a brain fart?
It don't matter. They didn't make any move that was significant enough to be formidable in the Western Conference in 2022.
They got Eric Pascal from the Warriors. For the added some size there. He says nothing. He actually was a childhood friend of Donovan Mitchell, so Donovan Mitchell approved of that one. But they got rid of the two jump shooters, the two jump shooting white boys. I can't. Why am I having brain fart of their name? They broke
Because
up
it makes no difference. That's why you're having a brain flutter in this. We're talking about the Western Conference and what other teams have done to
Joe Ingles.
recalibrate.
Joe
The
Ingles.
Utah Jazz, they didn't do anything to recalibrate to make themselves better.
Joe Ingles and Boban. They're on the blocks right now.
They're on the blocks. They're still there. Why you trade? Why you trade them like
right.
they're not there?
I thought they were already gone.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they're on the blocks.
Yeah,
they're
man. See, again, man. No, that inconsequential.
And Pascal means nothing, huh? Yeah, they're not going to be there. They gotta break those guys up. So that'll be interesting. But the big question, I mean, the big deal right now, the big question in the NBA is what happens to Dame Lillard? What happens to Damian Lillard? Man, he's really all alone in the Northwest now. Like everybody else that made some moves, the Lakers made the moves. We talked about the Clippers. They're waiting on Kawhi to come back. The Warriors get these 3 draft picks coming into town. The Nuggets they're waiting on Murray to come back. The Suns kind of showing some growth. They're counting on their growth to be better this next season. The Mavericks, they're going to have to trade the unicorn, Kristaps Porzingis. They're going to have to trade him again. I believe they're in the very same situation as the Philadelphia 76ers are with Ben Simmons. But as everybody is making moves, poor old Dame is still up there in the Northwest. And, I thought Chris Haynes knew something when I asked him, was he leaving? And he's like, well, that's a good question. You were saying then he's coming to the Lakers. Well, the Lakers don't feel that. The Lakers decided they wanted Russell Westbrook and Isaiah Thomas instead of Damian Lillard. So, I mean, we see what their thinking is. What happens to Dame? Does he have anywhere to go other than Philadelphia? I mean, to go in contention, or should he just stay in Portland?
He has to go east to be in contention. He has to go to actually not even east. He has to go to either Philadelphia or New York.
Or wonder, can he end up in L.A. for the other team in L.A., the Clippers?
No,
can he end up?
He can't. He can't. Well, for one, he can't coexist with Paul George, and for two, he was already offered that invitation, and it didn't happen. So.
I mean, I don't know why you couldn't coexist with Paul George. I mean, they're grown men. They
don't like each other. That would be like Isaiah Thomas and Larry Bird playing on the same team. This wouldn't work.
Well, if Isaiah Thomas and LeBron James come in their fences, why can't Dame Lillard and Kawhi?
Because there's nothing like that. The power dynamics are nothing like that, and the history of bad blood is nothing like that.
I wonder. You know what? I'm gonna have to inquire about that one. See if they're willing to how amicable these two can play on the court. Because Dame could use Paul George. Dame could use Paul George, and if Kawhi Leonard comes back, you got Dame, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you didn't like that one. He couldn't even close his eyes and fantasize that one. He didn't like that one at all. Look at, what do you think about that big three? And you still got a Visa Zubac down low. You still got a Visa Zubac down low. Woo! That might be the move to make right there. I'm gonna have to call Ballmer up. Let me send Ballmer a text right now. Let me see Ballmer a text. Well, have you looked into Dame? That's what I'm asking right now. Have you looked into Dame, Ballmer?
And he is a good friends with the Allens. So I mean, if it were going to happen, it's quite possible. Almost like when Kevin McHale gave Danny Ainge Kevin Garnett for 3 cents on the dollar. Sometimes that happens
for that Boston market. All year coupon, all year, all you can eat special. Oh my goodness, that was kind of comical, right? So we got NBA, man. NBA just doesn't stop, man. As the NFL gets rolling here, it's going to be. They start training camp starts October 1.
Mm-hmm.
These games opening night is October 19. So we're really 2 months away. That's really it's August, September, October. We're 2 months away. We're 60 days. I wonder if when those darn fans wearing purple and gold, are they going to complain about how short of off season has been again this year? Will we hear the same excuses? Oh, it was 71 days since we last played.
The season is not nearly as nearly as compressed
we didn't turn
as
around.
it was
we
when the Lakers had
turn around. I wonder if we're gonna hear that.
Defend their NBA championship. No, the season's not nearly as compressed.
So there's not gonna be no complaints about the off season.
No complaints this year. No
complaints about you guys didn't have enough time to
I mean, in a perfect world, obviously the offseason will be a little bit longer, but it's not nearly as compressed as last year.
So what you guys, in a perfect world, you guys would start the season in Christmas Day? That's what you project?
No, in a perfect world, the season would end in June and start again in October. I mean, as it's always been, Cam.
Well, I just want to make sure, because we heard that for half the season last year. Oh, because of the bubble, because we only had 31 days in the offseason.
Well, and you see what happened. I mean, you saw the ramifications of all that, right? I mean, you can't act like I was just blowing smoke. I mean, that's clearly you certainly can see.
Phoenix Suns and Giannis, they performed well.
Phoenix Suns did not play for the NBA championship.
They were in a bubble. They went 8-0.
Well, so what?
8-0 in the bubble. If you
well, so what? But they didn't win an NBA championship.
They went 8-0 in the bubble.
It affects the teams that play longer more, Cam. Those guys didn't even make the playoffs.
Oh my goodness!
What kind of argument is that?
I mean, Miami Heat.
Talk about the defending NBA champions.
The Miami Heat were right.
They only had 17 days to get ready and turn it back around and get ready to go again. It was ridiculous.
Again, I just wondered. My whole question was: are we going to hear the same?
2.5 weeks.
Are we going to hear the same excuse once the season starts? And
the answer is no, because there's way more time between the championship and when training camp starts.
Well, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. Go. I want to hear.
You got it.
I want to hear if there's going to be any more excuses, and glad to know that you guys won't be complaining about anything this offseason.
No,
there won't be no complaints. I'm happy to hear that. And I think the fans are happy to hear that too. So let's take a break here, man. When we come back, we got some. We're going to talk about Naomi Osaka. I want to get your opinion on Naomi, man. Is she being mistreated by the media? She has a love-hate with the media. What do you think about that relationship she has with the media? We're going to talk about Usain Bolt. I'm not sure if you hear Usain is telling Tyreek, you better shut up, man. I just might show up to one of these events to the Chiefs training camp and go. Let's go for the 110-yard dash. Let's go for the 70-yard dash. Whichever you want to do, I'm ready for it. Usain Bolt talking crap now. All this is going to be after, obviously, we talk about this week in history. We got some serious topics that we're going to help educate some of the fans on. But let's take a little break here, Cleveland, and we come back, man. We got still some stuff to talk about. Shohei Ohtani. Want to hear what you got to say about Shohei Ohtani's week and the week that was in baseball. Let's take a little break right here. You good?
Good to go.
Yeah, I'm so glad, man. You guys were not going to have that excuse this offseason because, you guys were.
And I'm so disappointed. We still have to share the building with y'all. I thought you guys were going to be out on your own.
No, man. They just
doing your own thing, man. You still hanging out?
They just broke grass, man. Yeah. They just broke ground not too long ago.
Well, get that going, man.
Monuments
finished.
Monuments take
time to
build, man. Oh, is that what it is? Monuments take time to grow.
I heard sharing this with you, man. You act like you belong or something, man.
Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. It's gonna be incredible. And then don't come try to drag yourself to our games either. Try to fill the arena with our games. That's not.
Hey, look, man. There will be no Danny Manning statues erected at Staples. Okay, You take that on down the street to wherever you guys want to do it at. Okay. Be none of that. There'll be no Mike Olowokandi statues. Okay. You take that on down the street.
Oh my goodness! It would be Elton Brand. It wouldn't be Olo Candy. It would be Manny, Elton Brand, and who else? You know, the Knuckleheads might get a statue.
Vinny Del Negro. Yeah, no, man. You take that statue on down the street, man.
But the Knuckleheads, you know who the Knuckleheads are?
Darius Miles and them. Oh yeah. Yeah, you take that on down the street. Yeah. We don't need it.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's get this started. Fans, thank you guys for sticking and staying with the Voice of the Fans podcast. Excuse me. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your feedback as well. You can find me, your man Cam. What's good in sport? What's good? The letter N sport on Twitter. Voice of Fans on Instagram. And where can they find you, Cleavon?
At Clevie Wonder on Twitter and Cleavon Steele on Instagram.
Cleavon, this is a busy weekend ahead, man. The busy next couple of days. I can't even tell you everything I got going on this weekend. One of the things I got going on, though, I want to get your opinion before I forget about it, is we got a big fight coming on this weekend. And we're gonna touch on that in a minute. Pacquiao back in the ring. We're gonna touch on that in a minute. But Cleavon, this week in history, as always, man, we always touch on some topics and educate the fans on some of the things that happened in the past. August 20th, 1619, the first slaves was brought by the Dutch to the colony of Jamestown. First time Jamestown's out in Virginia. First time slaves landed here in America was 1619. August 21, 1831, Nat Turner began a revolt in Southampton, Virginia, 1831. August 19, 1963, the NAAC Youth Council begins a sit-in at lunch counters in Oklahoma City, all for the sake of social justices, part of the civil rights movement. The Youth Council begins sit-ins at the lunch counters. And in August 18, 1992, probably the most famous Boston Celtic announces retirement after 13 years in the NBA. Would you say Larry Bird is the most famous Boston Celtic? Or does that go to Bill Russell? What would you say?
I would say Larry Bird's the most famous. I would say Bill Russell's the most accomplished.
Yeah, I started to say accomplished, but yeah, just Bill Russell clicked in my head. He's not the most accomplished. So Larry Bird announces retirement August 18th, 1992. They must have just came back from the Dream Team that year, right? About that time, right?
Probably so.
They had just been
Roughly.
coming back. Yeah. Within a few weeks or so. Usain Bolt versus Tyreek Hill. Who you got?
Usain Bolt.
So obviously, Tyreek is pushing for a 40-yard dash, which he would probably win the 40-yard dash. Usain Bolt is pushing for the 100-meter dash, who he would probably win the 100-meter dash. So why don't they do the 60-yard dash? And who do you think will win that one?
Usain Bolt.
Oh,
being fast is not the same as having sprinter disciplined speed. It's not the same thing, man. It's just like because you can punch really hard does not make you a really good boxer.
Well, what you're talking about is quickness that Tyreek has versus
speed. It's technique and understanding how your speed really works and really how to activate it at certain intervals of a distance. Tyreek Hill is just fast, dude. He's always just been like, I'm just faster than you. That's not world class sprinter speed type of a thing.
Are you saying that because your guy who's number 14 for the Seahawks, who's fast and everybody calls him fast, like a lot of guys in the NFL, just got dusted in his competition?
And that was nowhere near the fastest human being in the history of the world, right? Those are just some dudes.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, they dusted him up pretty good because he's not a sprinter. Tyreek Hill's not a sprinter, man.
Good point. Good point. I think Usain Bolt, man, his advantage is he has long legs and he has to take less strides than, say, a Tyreek Hill would have to take. Where in I think he was taking like 70 strides in his 100-meter dash, and everybody else is taking like 80 or 90, and or 80 to 85, and obviously he's able to pick him up and put him down his 70 steps. Then the other guys is 85 steps. So yeah, to your point. Um, there's a difference there. But if it's a shorter track, if it's a shorter race, I think
the shorter the better for Tyreek.
Yeah, Tyreek can get him because he's quicker.
Once it gets to about 30, that's when it
yeah, and that's why Tyreek doesn't want to go the 110, and I get it.
No,
you can't give him.
It will start to look real ugly at about 50.
No, maybe I don't give.
No,
I give Tyreek a little
because Tyreek is explosive to 40. After 50, it will look embarrassing.
Well, it'd be interesting to see either way. Did you hear the Naomi Osaka issue where she was asked a question, she got broke, she broke down after was being asked a question, and then her agent said the reporter was bullying her? Did you hear the question that was asked?
I did hear the question. I don't remember it verbatim. It was something to the effect of, we're not your favorite people, and how have you been able to kind of deal with not handling the media well? And it was suggested that the reporter was bullying. I don't know how I feel about it. Again, it's a very sensitive subject, and I don't want to broach it too much, other than to say, this is kind of the environment that we're in. You have one of the top female tennis players in the world that kind of has an adverse reaction to having to answer questions, from the media. So
I'm okay with. I'm glad it wasn't. Man, these dudes is crazy on the snowboarding. Man, this snowboarding, these dudes is nuts, man. That's all I can say. Snowboarding, the X Games style snowboarding is bananas. It's just on the tube. Just watching these guys go off of school roofs, off to the fucking handrails. These guys is just bananas. Stuff I wouldn't even think to try that these guys are doing. It's just bananas. But back to Naomi, and don't mean to diminish this issue with Naomi Osaka. I'm glad it wasn't Naomi saying, "Why are you bullying me? You shouldn't be a bully." It wasn't her calling out the reporter. Number one, I don't think it was bullying. Her agent was that was a dog whistle, if you will. I thought it was a good question by the reporter, although it was kind of a loaded question. I thought it was a good question, and I give credit to Naomi for kind of intelligently answering the question, and then being willing to have that conversation once the agent tried to shut it down. The PC of society, this is when it kind of goes a little bit too far. By the agent being comfortable saying the reporter was bullying her, looking for some more reason to make it PC. I mean, this is when it kind of takes it a little bit too far. But I appreciate Naomi. I appreciate her for sharing her wisdom at such a young age. Each time she gets on the mic and wants to have decides to have this conversation or be able to address questions from the media, whether she likes them or not. They kind of promote her business, and not that she needs them to be famous. I mean, she can just keep winning and doing her thing, but by her talking, it helps to promote women's tennis, to promote tennis, and then women's tennis as well. So I appreciate her commentary. And we need to get to a point where I think they're asking too much of these. She's 23 years old. To call her a youngster, I'm not trying to insult her at all, but she is young. She is worldly. She's come from two different, Japan and Haitian, and kind of understands who she is, where she comes from, and the impact that she's had in both communities. So that gives her a certain level of wisdom and understanding that she has, but she still is young. She still is a young lady. So I appreciate her commentary. I just think reporters can't be expecting a young person to engage in them as they would reporters who've been doing their work for the last 15, 20, 25 years, and then they're trying to engage the 23-year-old like she's a peer, and then ready to pounce and chop down anything she says. I don't like that aspect of it. You know what I mean? But once again, I'm in regards to this particular story, I'm glad it wasn't her that's saying the reporter was bullying her. I appreciate that fact, and the fact that she was ready to address the issue, address the question. Your thoughts?
I think that she's been on the big stage for a long, long time. And unfortunately, the anxiety of kind of having to deal with the media has somewhat come to the forefront, and is unfortunately kind of even overshadowed her tennis ability at this point. Everything right now is about how she's going to interact with the media, and whether she's going to be accessible or not, and whether she's going to be able to say, and how long the interviews can go, and that kind of thing. And unfortunately, I think that's just part of being a superstar. It's unavoidable after you get to a certain point.
I agree with you. Great way to put that. Great way to put that. Cleveland this weekend, Manny Pacquiao takes on Ugas, Cuban fighter. Is this the last time we see Pacquiao?
Is it? No, it's not, because he didn't get a chance to fight Errol Spence. And this dude he's fighting is not a big name, so no, this will not be the last time we see Manny Pacquiao. Last time we see Manny Pacquiao will be a big name, and it'll be for, between 30 and 50.
So I don't necessarily appreciate your poo-pooing of this whole conversation to begin with. I do agree with you, however, this will not be the last time we see Manny Pacquiao, because it is not Errol Spence that he's fighting. Ugas is a good fighter. I believe he beat Sean Porter. However, Sean Porter, they kind of gave the fight to Sean Porter. He will be a stiff competition. I'm expecting a stiff competition for Manny Pacquiao, and we'll see how that transpires. But I do agree with you. No, this is not the last fight for Manny Pacquiao, although he is 42 years old. If Dennis goes in here and knocks him out in 2 rounds, it's going to be the last fight for Manny Pacquiao. That's not what I'm anticipating. I think it'll be a good fight that goes the distance. So if you haven't signed up for bought your pay-per-view, go ahead and buy your pay-per-view.
No,
because this is going to be a good fight.
No.
Cleveland, something more up your field. What do you think of the Yankees and White Sox, the Field of Dreams game last week?
Thought it was kind of cool, with all the field,
Did you watch
all
that?
that?
Did you watch?
I watched a little bit of it. I saw the walk-off home run, the jerseys and kind of the atmosphere. I thought it was cool.
Okay, you watch more of it than me. I'm sure. I'm sure of it. They decided to Major League Baseball The most watched. It was the most watched Major League Baseball game since 2005, and it was a Fox. It was a Fox televised game, and the coordinator. I got to watch what I say because the coordinator of the game, producer of the game, you know, I made friends with her, so I got to kind of watch what I say. Wendy, this isn't directed towards you, Wendy. But they based this game off a fake movie, and then they bring Kevin Costner off there. Like this isn't like real Hornets Wagner, uh, the Babe. This isn't real. This isn't history that we're watching here. Like they once played in these fields, and if you build it, they will come. And they showed up years ago. They showed up and they played here decades ago. This is where it originated. This is not what that was. All right. But they try to make it like that. They try to make it and give you that nostalgia that this is what real, true, original baseball was. Stop it. Okay. Stop it. You put up 8,000 seats. You sold the ticket for $3,000 a piece. Okay. In the middle of Iowa, where I mean, is the world oversaturated with corn now? I mean, if the world got so much corn now that they just said, okay, we'll gladly cut down some cornfields, or did Fox buy the corn and say we're going to cut down the cornfield?
Fox bought the corn, and then
Major League Baseball
yeah.
and Fox bought the corn and said, okay, now we're cutting down the fields and we're going to put up stadium. We're going to put up a stadium right here. Next year, we haven't decided what we're going to do. But if we need to buy more corn next year, let's just leave the stadium here because we may come back.
Just here for now. Yeah, we'll rent it. Yeah,
that's where they lost me. They try to make it seem like this is Robert Naismith and the peach basket on the side of the street light. Sure. This is where baseball originated. No, you just decided to make this event, make this facade, and kind of bring a fake movie into it. Like it make some realism out of it. That whatever. Okay, whatever. They played in the field. The walk-off home run goes into the cornfield. I want to know who got that ball, and now how much is that ball worth? That's my next question. Who actually went? Which one of the Fox producers or the stage prop men went out there and grabbed that ball? But I don't think a player got the ball. Or were the fans allowed to go out there and get the ball? I don't know. It was all kind of hokey, a little cheesy, if you will, because it's not real, and they try to make it off like real, and they fool a lot of you baseball fans, people like you who thought it was so nostalgic.
Didn't fool me. Again, like I said, it was a cool feel to it, but yeah, no, there was nothing like real about it. No.
Yeah. So that's all. That's all my. That's the issue I have with that question, and we'll make this quick. I mean, it's only a few of them, but was the Field of Dreams the best baseball movie that you've seen?
No, I would say Bull Durham is the best baseball movie I've ever seen, followed by Major League, and then after that, The Natural. Not even that order.
I thought The Natural was the best one. Bull Durham, man, there was some funny parts of it. Major League, okay, they're just making fun of baseball. That's what those movies did. They're making fun of baseball. The Natural, I thought, was the best baseball movie. Like I got into that one. I got into The Natural. I thought that was the best baseball movie made. Cleveland, there was a video. I should have sent this clip to you so you can take a look at it. There was a video of this happened at a petting zoo in Utah. The handler was feeding the 8-foot alligator. And instead of the alligator biting the steak she's trying to feed him, the alligator bit her arm. Held onto her arm. And it got serious when the alligator started wiggling left and right, and then try to back up and pull her into the water, and then start rolling. That's when you know it wasn't a joke. It wasn't, because when the alligators try to pull you in and then bite their prey and then do the roll to kind of drown them, right? And the girl, as the alligator starts to roll, she knows what she's doing around the alligators. And so she rolled with the alligator so she didn't get her arm ripped off, essentially. So she's flopping around in the water. And a spectator, a fan, somebody visiting the petting zoo in Utah jumps into the water with the alligator as the alligator has a girl's arm. And this spectator pries the alligator's arms open or jaws open, so she's able to get her hand out, her arm out, and then she coaches him what to do to kind of so he can stay alive, like jump on the back of the alligator, hold his mouth, because their strength isn't in the jaws opening up, their strength is in the clamp down, right? So to hold his mouth, and kind of sit up and then jump out of the cage before he got pulled in there. Cleveland, would you do anything like that? Number one, well, I think I know the answer to that. And then, what is the best example if you have of a pedestrian jumping in to save somebody, a civilian jumping in to save somebody in that situation?
To answer the first part of that question, no, I'm not wrestling with the alligator. To answer the second part of that question, I think the closest thing that I have ever seen is I saw someone handle a purse snatcher one time.
Okay. All right.
So
give him
the Jack. So someone snatched the purse from the old lady and tried to get away, and dude wasn't having it.
He gave the old forearm, like dude, the one dude who ran on the football field, and the football player gave him the forearm shiver right there, huh?
Yeah, so it was similar to that, but it was a little more. He was a little bit more angry about it. So
okay,
he saw it as a little bit more egregious. It took a little bit more out of him. But,
I got the picture. But no, man, that picture, I'm gonna send you the clip of that, man. It was absolutely amazing. I had to watch that like 2 or 3 times just to kind of get a feel for it, what actually happened. Of just being the amazement of what was going down, I should say. Cleveland, Jack Morris. Did you hear Jack Morris's commentary as he's trying to make a joke about it using a Japanese accent while Shohei Ohtani's at the bat the other night? Did you hear that? And what's your thoughts?
I read it. I did not hear it in its context. Apparently, it sounded kind of the way it read, and the Detroit Tigers had to take action. Their 84 Cy Young winner, the last player to bring them a World Series title.
I mean, they gave him a week off. Like it wasn't.
Oh well, I mean, it's Jack Morris. I mean, how much more were you going to give him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't fire him. They gave him a week off.
He's got lifetime over there. He would have done something like way more out of line than that.
Was insensitive? Did you see the humor of what he was doing?
It's 2021, man. It was insensitive.
Is that's more to the PC culture that we're talking about?
Yeah,
I was talking about earlier. 2021, man, is shit's different now. Shit is different. Shit is different in so many ways, man. I remember what was this? It had to be 19. I was 1990. Let's say 94, 95. I was in Virginia working for the city, and I put up. We had our own trucks that we drove. It was a city truck, but assigned to us. Just a couple of us that rode in this truck every day. Very rarely did anybody else ride in this truck. So it was essentially kind of our truck. I mean, we had our situation setups in the truck or whatever. I put up from the ABC store, not the liquor store, but the ABC industrial store, they were giving out calendars of women in sweatsuits. Every month was a different woman in a sweatsuit, or not sweatsuit, but bathing suit. I put this up in the truck, right? I think it was up there for 3 months. All of a sudden, one of the women gets on the truck, and then that was a absolute no. How could you, women in women in bikinis? How could you have this posted on the? Like, what are you talking about? Like, Playboy has this every month. They have the Playboy magazine calendars all across America. There's naked women in all the calendars across America. How is this a problem? Oh, it's insensitive. It's been spun. It's been taken. That was in the mid '90s. It's gone to another level now. We talked about the Naomi Osaka issue earlier. This PC culture, the taunting. Now that we have the taunting rules, they're trying to legislate that out of the game. PC culture has kind of just went to a whole nother level in 2021. So I understand what you're saying. I mean, that would have been kind of insensitive back in the day, but you certainly would have. It would have been a joke in the mid '90s. That was the point I was making.
For sure.
Jack Moore's situation would have been a joke in the mid '90s. Did you hear him? Did you hear how bad his Japanese accent was? They would have been laughing about his accent, not laughing about the fact that he was using a Japanese language towards Otani, who was at the bat. They would have been laughing at how terrible his accent was, and because Otani happened to be at the bat, they would have laughed that off, man. So it's just, to your point, it's 2021. Some things are no longer accepted. But with that being said, man, tell us about Otani. Tell us about his week and how great Shohei has been this past week.
From what I hear, he's been doing all right, Cam. I don't really keep close tabs on Shohei like that, as I've said on numerous occasions on this show. Not my dude. Not my job to watch him this week.
Well, you're only saying that because he chose to live in the sun of Los Angeles or Southern California versus.
He's a baseball player. It's sunny everywhere he goes in the summertime.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna need the fans. The fans are asking you to take a closer look at Shohei and to report back on how he's doing each week.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right.
It hurts some fans because he didn't want to be the next Ichiro. And the Seahawks Mariner fans are a little disappointed. So let's give these Mariner fans, let's give them something that they want to talk about, because what have the Mariners been doing recently? I'm gonna get my stopwatch going and stopwatch. Let's give him 90 seconds. Go.
Seattle Mariners have won 4 of their last 5 games, playing really good baseball. Second best ERA in the American League since the All-Star break. Tons of outfielders. Need to find some space for them. Getting past the hurt feelings of trading their closer. One of the guys they traded for, Abraham Toro, been playing lights out, playing a great second base, might be the heir apparent at third base. Not going to say that they're going to make the playoffs this year because I don't want to jinx them, but I like the trajectory they're on right now.
Well, I'll say it. They won't make the playoffs this year, and we already knew that. And
about the Dolphins or the Mariners? What are you talking about?
The Seattle Mariners not making the playoffs.
Oh,
the same team who should be in Portland next year. Those guys.
Okay.
Any questions? You still got time. You guys, you can't even talk 90 seconds.
That's all I'm using. That's all I'm using.
You can't even talk 90 seconds. You can't even talk 90 seconds about these bums.
Anymore will drift into, superstition, and I'm superstitious right now. Trying to see if they can maintain and hold on. I don't want to see anything more, anything less.
There we go. Okay. All right, fans. He can't even talk 90 seconds about the Mariners, so we cut it down from 120 seconds to 90 seconds. He still can't fill that time. So we might have to revisit this whole segment about giving him time to talk about the Mariners, because it sounds like he can't even use it appropriately. That's what it sounds like to me. On any note, let Cleveland know, fans. Please, you watching the show. However, you watching the show, let Cleveland know what you think of his 90 seconds on the Mariners, or that he can't even complete. Again, we cut that down. Let him know. Cleveland, what's your Twitter information?
It is at Cleveland on Twitter and Cleveland Steel on Instagram.
Do you think the Seattle Mariners can make the playoffs, fans? Let him know that he said he doesn't think so, but he's trying to be modest in that prediction. I can say no right off the bat, and let Cleveland know that they won't make the playoffs. And you can tag me on those comments to Cleveland. What's good in sport? That's what's good. The letter N sport on Twitter. Voice of Fans on Instagram. Cleveland, I want to thank you for participating in the show this week, man. I want to leave the fans with a quote before we let you go. Quote from a famous NCAA basketball coach that I'm sure you would remember. Never give up. Failure and rejection are only the first steps to succeeding. Never give up, fans. Failure and rejection are only the first step to succeeding. The Mariners have taken a lot of steps, bro. The Mariners, I'm just thinking about the Mariners in the context of this quote. They have taken a lot of steps. I mean, the next step, we should say the next step. But this quote came from Mr. Jim Valvano. Sure you remember Jim.
I do remember Jimmy V.
Fans, again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. Once again, man, be sure if you're listening to us or if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead, like and subscribe to our YouTube page, Voice of the Fans on YouTube. If you're watching us on if you're watching this on Voice of the Fans, check us out on Hoops and Brews. They got a lot of basketball content as well. You might want to check them out for some clickbait. Every week they got different shows on their channel, HNB Media TV. HNB Hoops and Brews Media TV on YouTube. They got a lot of content, man. The guys over there do a lot of good stuff, a lot of basketball content. So check them out for basketball content. If you're already watching us on HNB Media, go ahead and subscribe to the Voice of the Fans YouTube. I have a lot of football content with the football season getting wrapped up. You're going to see a lot of interviews from players and coaches from around the NFL. You're going to see a lot of game recaps from the games I attend once the season gets started. So make sure you check us out for a lot of NFL content. I have some boxing content, specifically this Pacquiao, Dennis Ugas wrap up from this weekend. So it should be a pretty exciting weekend. So make sure you guys check that out. Again, like and subscribe to it. If you're listening to us on a podcast, we appreciate you for tuning in. Like and subscribe, whichever platform you're listening to us on. As I mentioned, we're on we're on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Castbox, TuneIn. However you're listening to us, wherever you're listening to us, whether you're working out, whether you're running errands, whether you're on your way to dinner or just having a jog in the park. We thank you guys for tuning in and appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you check us out on each of our Twitter pages as well. And lastly, I want to say, fans, be sure to subscribe to our show. Please rate and review it. And as always, thank you for making our voice your choice. Cleveland, thank you for sticking with us, man. What's that over-under on Jamal Adams? Over under 12 games, right?
It's 14, Cam.
All right. You don't have to be so sensitive, man.
Not at all. Not at all. I understand where you were trying to go with that. I'm just
calling it like I see it, man. No reason to be sensitive on us.
It's 14.
So let's talk next week, man, and we'll see if that changes, okay?
Right on, bro. I'll be here.
All right, big guy. Thanks for tuning in.
Easy.
Later.